Since RuneScape's first release in 2001, a lot has changed. New content's been released, old content's evolved, and the game just doesn't feel how it used to. But what if there was a way to experience the oldest content in the game exactly as it was intended, isolated from all the skills, the keybinds, the stuff of modern day? Well, it turns out there is. Welcome to LVL Locked. Welcome to 2003. RuneScape 2 is on the horizon, promising stunning 3D graphics and, well, that's it really. But before we get there is a lot of questing to do. The primary objective for 2003 is to complete Legends Quest, the very first master difficulty quest, proving that at one point in time, many years ago, quest difficulties actually meant something. Now, becoming a legend is not an easy feat. To do it, I will need to have level 50 in 8 different skills, 107 quest points, and the strength to defeat several powerful foes, before I can even consider taking on the demons, undead warriors, giant chickens, and all the things of the Khazari jungle. I must take on a challenge like none have ever seen before. Woodcutting. For 3 hours. But don't worry, I won't make you watch it all, just know that I did it, and that we walked away with level 50. After that, I met a bunch of adventurers who have been camped out in Lumbridge Swamp for about a year looking for the mysterious lost city. As it turns out, the clue they were looking for was right next to them all along. They just needed to try and destroy the home of a poor, innocent leprechaun called Seamus. Seamus knew exactly how to get to the lost city of Xanaris. Because, why wouldn't he? He told me to go to Entrana and create a staff from the wood of a Dramon tree. The only problem is the tree is protected by a spirit, and I can't bring combat gear to the boat of Entrana. But there's a little loophole. You can bring the raw materials to the island, fletch a bow, arrows, so that's what I did. With the spirit dead and the tree destroyed, the staff created, I walked into a suspiciously shady hut in the middle of nowhere and magically teleported to Xanaris. Should I go and tell the adventurers? Nah, I'm sure they'll be fine. Just like the proper genocidal maniac, adventurer that I am, I went to the barbarian village to mass farm hundreds of fish. I don't know why this river has so many fish, but it's fine. I took them out and I dumped them all on the floor. What could go wrong? It's not like there's any mechanic in the game at the moment that I can't access during the challenge that would be incredibly painful to experience and would absolutely make up for all the terrible things that Adventurer does. Okay, apart from maybe getting bubbles. Yeah, bubbles. Don't even have it on my main. We're gonna have to do it. It doesn't exist. Are you sure? You cannot you'll have to obtain another one. Really hurts. It's gonna hurt. I'm sorry, guys.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
I got back to fishing and managed to reach 40 fishing and 40 cooking. In the upcoming clips, you might notice this little thing here. The specific levels aren't necessarily accurate, it's just a handy guide for people watching me live, twitch.tv/Spidermash, of what skills I can and can't train at the moment. While I was over in Mythalane, I got word of some terrible things happening over on the island of Karamja. One guy, who was old and frail, needed a specific potion made from a bunch of wild herbs and stuff. I went and grabbed it for all of him, gave it to him, jungle potion, completed. Just south, a small settlement was having huge problems with the undead variety. I was redirected back to Trifitus, that old guy from Jungle Potion. He said that the zombies attacking Shiloh village were being controlled by the spirit of Raishayan, a sorceress queen from the Third Age. The key to breaking the spell and saving the village would be found in the temple of Azaruhum. The only problem is, no one knows where it is. The only clue we have is the name of the temple translate to magnificent floating on water, implying that the temple is on an island. I found the tomb, it wasn't really that hard to find. It makes me wonder if those villager guys actually even tried to find it. Anyway, the temple looked more like a tunnel that led to a dead end, but I did find something interesting inside. 2 scrolls explained what had happened to Rashayilia, apparently her son, Bervelius, had died, and Zamorak had tried to revive him, but brought him back to life as an undead, who terrorised his parents. The only way to end the undead rampage was to burn him to cinders, which enraged the queen, leaving her to strangle almost everyone in her kingdom. According to legend, the only people to survive were protected by a special kind of necklace. I stumbled upon a corpse which had died in a similar way to the others killed by Richelieu. I buried the corpse at the tribal statue by Tuffatus, and the spirit of Zadimus, whose corpse it was, appeared, gave me a bone shard, which was allegedly the key to stopping the undead. I took this key to Carn Isle, where Berevelius had been buried. Inside the tomb I found some more scrolls that told me more about what had caused this, as well as the materials I needed to create beads of the dead capable of stopping Richelieu. Now, prepared to fight the spirit, I went to another mysterious tunnel, which, indeed, used the bone shard as a key. Inside I fought Nazraoul, a zombie. No, skeleton? Ghost? I don't know. Anyway, I killed him for a third time. Retrieved the remains of Richelieu from it and took them to the tomb of her son back on Carn Isle. Finally, she realised what she had caused and stopped the undead attack on Shiloh village. Quest complete. Also, side note, this quest should definitely come with a pronunciation guide, because I'm struggling out here. I'm sorry. Whilst we're on the topic of innocent people under attack by hordes of mindless brutes, the wizards over at Yanil are having similar problems. Their job is to protect the people of Yanil from the ogres who live nearby, but they cannot do it because of the power stones they will require have been stolen. Even though they had literally nothing else to do without the stones, none of them even attempted to go and get them back.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
Some of the gems were harder to get, but none of them really took that much time. One of them was given to me by a random ogre that I made friends with. One of them was being held by Scavid, this weird creature that the ogres enslaved and kept in tunnels underground. One of them was literally just sat in the middle of the cave. And the last one I got by defeating these insanely powerful ogre shamans that can kill full-grown dragons with a single hit. But how did I defeat them, I hear you ask? Well, it turns out you can make a potion of random household items and enchant it to make a chemical that literally melts living beings. Like there was just standing there and 3 seconds later, boom, just goop. No bones, no corpse, no nothing. Anyway, back to the point. I finally had all 4 stones and brought them back to the wizards, restoring the wizards' power and completing the quest. Another quest that came out this year is Dig Site Quest, which saw the discovery of an ancient Zerosian temple in the city of Sansiston, which had stood just west of the River Solve. It also gave me the chance to become a level 3 archaeologist, a term which may become ever so slightly confusing slightly down the road. I also took some time to try out even more potential career paths. I didn't quite feel ready to become a full-time archaeologist yet, so I headed west and decided to try my hand at family counselling. My first job saw me trying to repair the bond between Demetrius Fitzhasmond and his sons. Well, it wasn't really repairing the bond so much. It was more repairing the crest of the family Demetrius so I could get a bigger house or something. One of the sons cared more about some fish than his family's heritage. One needed some new bling to flex on all the noobs, and the other was a pretty poor excuse for a warrior. Thankfully, all 3 of these facts allow me to reclaim all 3 fragments of the family crest and return them to their home. I wonder what Demetrius will move into. Maybe Romeo and Juliet's old house? Maybe a castle? Maybe the... wait, no, he just stayed in that little house in the corner. Oh, that was pointless. The final quest on the Road to Legends quest is Underground Pass. A quest infamous for its puzzles, length, and generally frustrating RNG. I started talking to King Lathas, the ruler of East Ardoin. Apparently, his brother, King Turias, who had once ruled West Ardoin, had abandoned his kingdom and had arrived at a far, strange land to the west. Somewhere along on the journey, he'd drunk from the Chalice of Eternity, and the same chalice that I'd interacted with in the Waterfall quest. In doing so, he had become corrupt, a danger to all of Gillinor should he ever return. Therefore, it seemed only logical that he must die. But to reach him in the Western Lands, I must first traverse through a strange subterranean tunnel system. Let's call it Underground Pass for short. Lathius has also commissioned one of his agents, Koftik, to aid me. Mere moments after entering the pass, I encountered my first obstacle, a small hole in the ground. Instead of literally just jumping over it, I set fire to an arrow and then used it to break the supporting ropes of a bridge that was raised over the other side. And after that, I balanced across some conveniently placed beams and made my way onto the next obstacle. Oh, no, wait. How the hell did he get there before me? Anyway, this part of the quest was very fun and easy. I had absolutely no trouble working out the correct path across the grid and didn't fall 6 times, even though it was literally a simple straight path across. In the next room, I had to avoid a bunch of traps to pick up some orbs and destroy them in a furnace. Somehow, I'm not really sure how, this disarm trap or barrier or something that allowed me to progress. Now for the more murderous part of the quest. I needed a unicorn horn. Now up on the surface of Gielinor, hundreds of unicorns are killed daily, and their horns are traded between other adventurers, but those horns aren't good enough. No, it needs to be a specific horn from a specific unicorn here on the Underground Pass. And since it's such a big quest, it has to be special. I can't just stab it. So I pushed a massive boulder onto it and instantly squished it. Thankfully, it managed to squish all of it except for the horn. A bit further through the tunnel, I encountered some paladins. Sir Carl, Jerry and Harry. Now, these were generous men, sharing food and potions with me to help me on my journey. The problem is, I don't need the food from them to advance. I need their paladin badges. Let's just say, they won't be needing them anytime soon. Or the potions. Or the food. Finally, I arrived in the Great Cavern that was home to Lord Ivan, the insane sorcerer who may or may not be the son of Zamrock. If I wanted to continue, he'd have to die. Curiously, a bunch of dwarves had managed to find themselves in there long before me and were just chilling downstairs. They told me that the witch Cardia, who lived upstairs, would know how to kill Ivan. So after finding her apparently very agile missing cat, I robbed most of her prized possessions, including information on Ivan, and a doll I would need to defeat him. To kill Ivan, I would have to imbue the doll with 4 elements of life: flesh, blood, shadow, and conscience, so it became the ultimate fetch quest. The shadow of Ivan was being protected by 3 demons: Dumian, Orthian, and Holthian. In fairness, it was probably been easier just to use 1 demon than it was 3 times as strong, because I just killed one by one and stole Ivan's shadow. 1 down, 3 to go. For the flesh, I found inside Ivan's tomb, where he'd been laid to rest before his resurrection, so set fire to it by using some booze from the dwarves. The blood of Ivan had previously been consumed by a big spider called Kalrag, so I figured the best way to get Ivan's blood is to steal it from the spider's corpse. The last item remained, representing Ivan's conscience, came in the form of a dove that was being held by a tormented, half-soulless man trapped in a cage near Ivan's temple. With all 4 ingredients collected, and my effigy of Ivan completed, I stormed into his temple, disguised as one of his own followers, threw the effigy into a well in the centre, destroying Ivan once and for all. Well, this turned out the Well of Voyage, the final leg in my journey through the Underground Pass. With my new best-in-slot staff, I took a step outside of the cavern to see the land of Troian for the first time. If only King Tyrus knew what was coming his way. But before I can fulfill King Lethius' request of assassinating his brother, I must ascend and prove myself to be the greatest warrior in the world. It is time to become a legend.